Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to your Skyway Capital webinar in English. My name is Paul, and I would like to thank you all for joining in this webinar, which is a company presentation of the Skyway Group and the innovative ideas behind the company. I am not an employee of the Skyway Group or Skyway Capital, but I can recognize a great chance when I see one. In fact, this is really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, not only for you, but also for your children, to invest in a company at the forefront of technology. As I am so impressed with this revolutionary system, it gives me great pleasure to perform this presentation in English. This webinar is divided up into 4 parts. Part 1 is information about Skyway, which has been independently valued at around $400 billion. In Part 2, we will discuss why investment and opportunities in Skyway should be lucrative. In Part 3, latest news from around the world. And Part 4, a question and answer session. Part 1. The project started its development by Dr. Anatoly Yunitsky. He is the inventor and chief engineer of the Skyway string transport system and has been working on the concept for the last 30 years and more. Dr. Anatoly Yunitsky, as well as being the inventor and chief engineer of Skyway, has also excelled in various other areas with the release of monographs and scientific works. Some of his technological developments have been implemented and people have been reaping the benefits thereof since then. What is Skyway transport technology? Skyway transport technology is a modern, ecological, safe transport system on the second level. What do I mean by that? Well, as you can see from the picture, the transport system is built as, for want of a better term, a cable railway, which is called a string structure, built as a rail and supported around 15 to 20 meters above the ground on pylons. This type of construction leads to a significant decrease in land requirements required to build the track and infrastructure. It can be built on rugged terrain, on low strength underlying soils, or under difficult geographical and climatic conditions. This does not mean, however, that it automatically leads to higher prices. There is a significant decrease on the resource requirements when building a string rail system compared to traditional transport systems. Also, there will be a reduction of operating costs by reducing the consumption of energy and fuel, as well as reduction in the volume of track and repair work, and in winter it will not be necessary to clean the track structure of ice and snow. The net cost of passenger and freight traffic could be reduced to over 50%. The technology opens up the possibility of development and settlement of new territories in remote places such as islands, mountains, the sea shelf, etc., and will make them comfortable to live in. It would improve the reliability and safety aspects of an all-weather operation of high-speed urban city transport in any climatic conditions. There is the possibility of combining the track structure and its support with power lines and communication lines, fiber optics, radio stations, cell phone communications, and so on. As you can see from the picture, this type of system has many advantages over conventional forms of transport such as cars, lorries, buses and trains. Here's a picture of various systems. This first picture of the unibike here on the right can carry up to 3 people, dependent upon size, and as the name bike suggests, you can assist the system by pedaling, which means that you can do some exercising on the way to and from work, shopping, etc., or just for fun. The unibus is designed for city areas, inner city areas. As you can see from the picture, there are many windows because the bus has 3 levels. It can carry up to 100 passengers quickly and cost effectively through the city at speeds of up to 150 kilometers an hour. The system is highly innovative and can be adapted to the needs of the passengers. For example, during rush hour periods, it will be possible to start a unibus every 2 seconds, assuming you can alight or embark within this frame time. Then as the demand drops off, the frequency could be reduced. The unibus is a mass transit system that can fit in and harmonize with existing infrastructure. Major structures can be prefabricated off-site and erected on-site with minimum impact on the environment and infrastructure. The freight transporter here on the bottom left, the Unicar, can carry up to 10 tons per vehicle at speeds of up to 120 km an hour. It can carry fluids, gas, bulk goods, packed goods and so on. Loading and unloading from certain types of goods can be carried out whilst in motion. The system could carry up to 50 million tons of freight per year. And one important aspect is that cargo can be delivered to ships moored offshore in 30 meters of water. This avoids building expensive new deep water ports. This picture at the top is the high-speed system, which could revolutionize intercontinental travel, as it is designed to transport up to 500 passengers per unit over a distance of up to 10,000 kilometers at speeds of up to 500 kilometers an hour. Due to the low build costs as well as low maintenance and running costs, the system could be a major competitor for airline operators, as many people have issues when entering and traveling in aeroplanes. Therefore, this high-speed intercontinental transport system will provide a relatively quick and cheap alternative in getting, for example, from London to Berlin or even on to Moscow. I mentioned string system. Now let's have a look at the track and then I'll explain why. The string system is nothing more than a bundle of steel wires clamped together, which is then encased in a special type of cement and topped with a steel rail. Services such as electricity, internet, telephone lines, and other digital information can be integrated into the rail system, which avoids digging large holes in the ground to lay cables and so on. I mentioned earlier that there is always a risk of accident when using conventional forms of transport, be it as a pedestrian, or as a passenger, or even as an active person guiding your own transport vehicle. The Skyway transport system, being on the second level, means raised above the ground, enables many factors to be eliminated from the accident equation. Apart from that, the system is so designed to withstand high winds and cannot fall down. The wheel on the side is part of the patented anti-derailment system, and the electric motors which propel the vehicle are incorporated in the wheels. These motors can also be used to recuperate energy whilst braking. Certain developments in Skyway technology have led to an innovative and, quite frankly, an ingenious way of getting from A to B using gravitation. This picture shows a hanging structure, which are the rails, and it is proposed that gravity accelerates the vehicle, and once it reaches the other side, the gravity decelerates the vehicle, bringing you safely to your destination. I have a few slides here which demonstrate how freight can be transported, be it bulk goods, liquid goods, crated on pallets. Bulk goods can be loaded and also unloaded whilst the transport system is in motion. Did you know that a lorry needs 11 kilowatt of power to move 5 tons of weight, and that the Skyway transport system only needs 5 kilowatt to move the same weight? So 11 kilowatt against 5 kilowatt, that's over half. That's over a 50% saving in energy. This slide shows the technology park where testing of prototypes, development of the various modules, and presentation of the system, including certification of systems, takes place. The technology park is situated near Minsk in a town called Mayina Horka in White Russia. The park covers an area of about 36 hectares, and the overall cost of land acquisition, erecting buildings, building track and carriages and so on, have amounted to about $260 million. As you can see on the right here, there is a high-speed track which is about 16 kilometers long and uses gravity at the end of the track to break the forward motion of the transport unit. This is obviously for demonstration purposes for new investors. The middle section here shows the urban system, complete with a hanging section here, and also a unibike section. And this part here is for freight carriage testing, and which also allows the loading and unloading of goods whilst the transport vehicle is in motion. The Russian Transport Authority has recognized the fact that the innovative Skyway technology is ready for implementation wherever it is required, and it is very important for the P project to be recognized because it gives investors extra confidence in investing in such an enterprise. Skyway is not only active in Russia but also in Australia. The former Chief Executive of the Department of Planning, Transport and Infrastructure of South Australia, Mr. Rod Hook, went back to his old job as manager of a transport company after coming out of office. And after initial contact and discussion with Skyway in 2015, he decided to establish a joint venture called Skyway Transport Australia with the aim of introducing this technology into his home country. He has planned to build a Skyway system on the Flinders University campus. This campus is situated on a large hill, and the track will go around the hill. Students normally travel about half an hour to get from the railway station to the campus. And this new system will reduce journey times to an absolute minimum. The system will probably run on battery power, which in turn will come from solar energy. The track is about 1 kilometre long, and not only are journey times drastically reduced, but carbon emissions as well. As you can see here is various infrastructure, roads, etc. And they have to walk from here to get some form of transport to get to the campus. So this new railway system is quite innovative. Yeah. The driverless transport system could carry as many as 1 million passengers annually and has an estimated building cost of about 13 million Australian dollars, and completion is planned for 2018. The cost of building 1 kilometre of track is about $3 million, which when compared to another form of road transport such as magnetic levitation railway systems, they cost about $50 million per kilometre. Therefore, the Skyway technology is one of the most cost-effective systems around today. Part 2. Why should I be interested in becoming a Skyway investor? Is it a lucrative proposition? At this point of time, I would like to point out that with any company or startup organization, that no guarantees can be given, although every care has been taken to prioritize and allocate funds accordingly, so as to generate a return on investments, and also that any profit or income examples and predictions on possible outcomes and impacts which may occur through the acquisition of shares are only estimated and may vary accordingly. Skyway, as I said, is a startup company and is offering shares at spot prices to anyone who wishes to invest in the company. This type of investment is known as crowdfunding, which is a word-of-mouth type of propaganda which spreads information amongst potential investors who invest and recommend the company to other people. When Skyway goes on the stock exchange, they hope to achieve a tidy profit on their initial investment. I'll explain how it works a little later on. Companies that issue shares also issue yearly dividends, dependent upon company performance to their shareholders. That's one way of getting some extra money back. The patent rights on the technology have been estimated at about $400 billion. When the market value of this technology rises, it's only natural that your investment dividend also rises. And cooperation with other companies, for example franchising, can also increase the income of the company. Various projects are already underway in the United Arab Emirates, Australia and Slovenia, to name but a few. There are roughly 60 billion shares available, which is about 15% of the total amount of company shares. And at the moment, well over 22 billion shares have been issued. You may think that you have time enough to invest, but that is not quite true. You can purchase shares as a complete package, or you may pay in monthly installments. Your share certificate will only be issued after final payment has been made. You may think that there is plenty of time to consider investing, But I assure you that due to the fact you can pay in installments, and as many investors take advantage of this, there are considerably less shares available than at first glance. So it pays to get your shares as quickly as possible. You have various possibilities for acquiring shares in Skyway. As you can see here on the top left, it is also possible for you as a parent to purchase shares for siblings. Parents control and maintain the transaction until the child reaches adulthood, at which stage he or she gains control of the shares. As an adult, you can purchase any one or combinations thereof of these shares. For example, you may decide to go for the senior packet, which you could pay outright with $400 or in 8 easy monthly installments of $50 a month. This entitles you to receive 60,400 shares plus a bonus of 21,000. And if you sign up directly after this webinar, or very soon, you receive an extra 100 shares free on top. This means you could have a total of 81,500 shares, which is a very good deal in my book. In fact, it is a once-in-a-lifetime offer. I must say that I've never come across such a fantastic offer and will probably never do so again. There are 36 billion shares to be issued before the end of September, and after that, the 24 billion shares needed to complete the various projects hopes to be raised from companies, and a private investor will have less chance, but the package will give fewer shares than at the present time. Sometime next year the shares will be 50 cents a share, therefore you will receive fewer shares for your investment. Your investment can be thought of as a sort of loan. A company called Sky Corporation holds all patents, and another company, the Eurasian Rail System Holding Company, manages the issue of the 60 billion shares, which guarantees your investment. This means that once you have paid in full, your status changes from investor to shareholder, and with luck you can sit back and enjoy the returns in the form of dividends. When final payment has been completed, you receive a certificate. This is the one on the left, issued by Skyway Capital, which has details on it such as the amount of shares purchased, the purchase date and so on, your credentials, etc. When your first Skyway Invest Group Limited certificate is registered by the regulating body, the Eurasian Rail Skyway System Holding Limited, they will send you a new certificate, which is the one on the right, and the old one will be cancelled. The blue one will be cancelled and you receive this one. You can check your certificates in your back office. The cost of sending the certificates to you amounts to $10, which has to be available in your Skyway account. You can have that then physically sent to your home address. How does it work? Well, let's have an example here of $200. The $200 are from me deposited in Skyway Capital, which is a central collection point, and from there it is sent to GTI, which is a Global Transport Investment Corporation. That's these people down here, and this is the controlling center, who then distribute your funds into the various projects in the technopark, such as payment of constructors, purchase of land, materials, etc., presentation and planning and project planning, business planning, building of the units, etc. So it's quite a large concern. What can I expect as return on my investment? I have prepared an example investment of $200. Various discounts are being offered according to the amount invested. A higher investment brings with it a better discount. In this example, I'm using a discount of 1 to 100, which means that my $200 I can purchase 20,000 shares, which are guaranteed tax-free up to a price of or value of $1 per share. The period of redemption or payback is estimated to be between 3 to 5 years. This means that if you invested $200 and the value rises to $1 per share, then you could sell your shares and receive a profit of $19,800. Naturally, if the shares go through the ceiling, then it would be advisable to keep them and not sell them too early for $1 a share. Plans are in the pipeline to enable you to sell your stake to other people. These plans should come into place sometime next year, but I will advise you not to sell even for $1 a share, as the price will rise hopefully even further as time progresses. So, is it lucrative to invest in this company and its innovative technology? As I said earlier, this is an example and the actual profit can vary, but I think that you would agree with me when I say that based on what you have heard and seen, it could be a very viable proposition, and you should decide to invest in this up-and-coming company and its ecological friendly technology. We now come to part 3, latest news from around the world. So how is Skyway progressing? Where does it stand at this present moment in time? And what does the future hold? Well, if you recall, I mentioned that Skyway was founded in 1978. Since then, the company has gone through various stages of development and is well into the startup phase. At this very moment, technology demonstrations and certifications are being carried out, as well as consultations with planners and engineers in many different countries throughout the world. The InnoTrans Fair in Germany in September will most probably be used to finalise various projects which are in the pipeline, such as high-speed connections between Melbourne and Sydney, Brisbane in Australia, or London, Berlin, etc. And for example, a joint project across Europe linking London with Berlin and then on to Moscow is being discussed at this very moment. The Skyway system in Australia will be constructed by Oricon, and they will be starting sometime this month. And Skyway is planning to enter the international markets sometime in 2017. It is also on Facebook, so you can get all the latest news and infos from there as well. As you can see from the chart, Skyway is right in the middle of demonstrations and certifications of its systems, and at this present moment of time is in phase 7. Naturally, as time progresses, then the demand for shares increases, and therefore it is planned to enter the final stage 8 sometime in September-October. As you can also see, this means a reduction in the number of shares purchased for a particular sum. Therefore, it would be more prudent to acquire shares sooner rather than later. These pictures show Anatoly Yunitsky looking at the prototype carriage being assembled in the workshop situated in the technology park. Here is a part of the workshop itself, and here a carriage which looks quite small, so I presume that it will probably be a unibike when it's completed, and this appears to be a motor and wheel assembly which will be used to drive this carriage along. In this slide I can show you various packets which you can buy. For example, InnoTrans. They cost $1,000. You buy the first packet and you receive 235,000 shares. If you buy a second packet afterwards for another $1,000, you have an increase in the number of shares allotted to you for the same price. You can do this 2 more times and increase the amount of shares you require for the same amount that you have paid. So in the end you can end up with 300,000 shares for your $1,000. This means you have paid a total of $4,000, to which you would receive just over 1 million shares in the company. One other point to note is the purchase of the first packet here. You can receive a fantastic offer, which is the return of your entrance fee for the InnoTrans in Berlin, which will be taking place between the 20th and the 25th of September. Anatoly Yunitsky will be speaking on the 23rd of September and the InnoTrans in Berlin, so it is advisable if you wish to go along and have a look. We come now to part 4, questions and answers. One question is, what methods of payment are available? You can pay using various payment systems such as OKPay, Perfect Money, Yandex Money, Visa, MasterCard or Advance Cash. Is there competition? Yes, there is competition. Hyperloop is being developed by Elon Musk, an American billionaire. The system is designed as movement on an air cushion in a vacuum tube, and the other competitor is Skytran, being developed by an Israeli company, and they are constructing personal vehicles which operate on a magnetic cushion. What is the minimum investment that I can actually pay? The minimum investment is $15 US. I think you get about 135 shares for $15 US. That's the minimum. And you can go up to something like 8 times 15, I think it is. And then you start getting in the area of $250, which is the smallest, which I showed earlier. So, ladies and gentlemen, I now come to the end of the presentation. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I hope you found it interesting and were impressed by the innovative new system and technologies presented to you. And we hope to see you again very soon. Thank you very much, and goodbye.